Hey there, Veteran Nation fans. So this morning, I'm going to be talking about a couple things that are happening that are all in the news. But before I get started, make sure you order yourself a Veteran Nation zip-up hoodie. This is actually probably the most expensive thing I have in the merch store. I believe it sells for, it's either $34 or $36, but very heavy duty, keeps you nice and warm. And this is the only printing on it, so it's it's got printing on it, but it's not overly flashy or anything like that. And with everything else that we have in the merch store, and I've been redoing some of the merch, you can get it at veterannationfoundation.com. Anything that you order there goes right into our foundation money, goes into that account. I don't touch it at all. It just goes right there, and then we're able to help other veterans and their families. And we're still a very small foundation, but when veterans reach out to us when they're looking for help with stuff, we can help a little bit here and there. We're not the solution, but we can be a gap to allow them to get better help and services from other nonprofits or from the VA. As you guys have seen, I've had a lot of veterans reach out. They're doing their own Give, Send, Goes, GoFundMe, stuff like that. This allows us to not only promote those, but then donate to those. So it's been a very positive situation where we can help a lot of people just a little bit. And one of the things I want to talk about this morning is Doge. A lot of things are being thrown around and around about Doge. And here's the thing about Doge. People are saying it's illegal because Elon Musk was never elected. Well, that's perfectly fine. This is a temporary agency that Trump has created via executive order. And that happens all the time. A lot of commissions get established by executive order. There's even been several agencies, and we will get into that. So the fact that Elon's not elected isn't a problem. Trump was elected. Trump campaigned on this. So the people voted for him. So, this is what the people want. And it's perfectly legal for the president to establish a committee or an agency, especially if it's a temporary agency. There's a lot of power invested in the president, and you've seen that with a lot of different things. A lot of different regulatory agencies all of them fall under the executive. They don't fall under the legislative, and that means the president has authority. If he's the executive, he has ultimate authority. Now, there are some agencies where Congress has not written into law the ultimate authority, but that's completely upon Congress if they want to do that or not. But when all the power comes from the presidency, that means the president has ultimate authority over that agency. They serve at the pleasure of the president. So a lot of these people who say Trump can't fire me, oh, yes, he can. And it'll play out in the courts. Don't worry about those type of delays. But yes, the president has the authority to fire the advisors. Now, when they write these things into law, they will sometimes write that they are appointed with advice and consent of the Senate. That means that person has to go, they have to be nominated by Trump, go in front of the Senate, and get appointed or get confirmed. Those are your major secretaries, but when they make a new agency, they write a lot of that stuff in. And with this one, because it was an executive order, Trump did not, look, the head of Doge is just appointed by the presidency. So there's no need to go in front of Congress. Trump can just do it. And the fact that it's temporary agency gives him way more powers because, if they take him to court and stuff, yeah, So as long as you have standing, you can take him to court. But by the time that the it runs its length, because federal court is notoriously slow, that agency is going to be done with anyway, and the court's going to say, yeah, this is a moot point. We're just going to toss it out. And the courts love to do stuff like that. Glory badly wants my attention. So the people saying Trump can't do this, oh, absolutely can. In fact, there's a lot of positions like that. The National Security Advisor, that is an appointed position, not confirmed, created by executive order. Now, other laws have kind of codified that that position, because since it was created, they've given it official duties. But that is someone who, the president can say, okay, hey, you're it today, and next week say you're fired, I'm going to put someone else in. Congress can't do a thing about it. And don't panic about a lot of these court cases. I'm noticing the current administration is doing things way smarter than the first time. They definitely learned the lessons, and they're much more effective. As you're seeing, like with the Fort Bragg change that was announced this morning. They changed it back to Fort Bragg, but it's a different Fort Bragg because Congress passed into a law that they couldn't have anything named after Confederate soldiers. Well, you think that was the only guy named Bragg? So they named it after a World War I hero, but it's back known as Fort Bragg. So that's how they're getting around these laws. It's perfectly legal to do. So a lot of people are up in arms, but it's like, well, Congress just said no Confederate soldiers. So yeah, now it's been named after other soldiers. So you're seeing the Trump administration and the people within it operating much smarter than what they did in his first time around. And there's been, for government accountability, the people are saying, oh, Elon really has no power. Well, I'll give an example. The Tower Commission, that was a presidential appointed commission to look into the FBI and the CIA, and that happened in the 70s. And the Tower Commission greatly changed a lot of things. In fact, the CIA notoriously shredded a ton of documents. So specifically, because they could see that the Ford administration was likely to appoint a Tower Commission to look into a lot of stuff. So they preemptively shredded a lot of stuff. And now that's completely legal. So if they did that today, people would absolutely go to jail. I think it'll also be harder now that we have more electronic means of communication. We did see a lot of Hillary Clinton's emails, which were absolutely illegal. Absolutely. So you see a lot of these things happening, and people are, oh, they can't do this, they can't do that. It's just, so much of it is just a lot of hot air. I have yet to see anything that the Trump administration is doing where I'm like, yeah, that's illegal. It all falls within the realm of the presidency and the powers of the presidency. Some of them are absolute powers, meaning the president solely has the power. Congress doesn't even have the power to do a lot of the stuff what they're doing. So it's very fascinating to see people, how they react to this. But don't panic. A lot of this stuff, a lot of people getting mad at these judges, like, all this stuff will play out in courts. Trump's been in court nonstop the last 8 years. So he's very familiar now with how the federal court systems operate. And yeah, he can request review up to the Supreme Court on a lot of the stuff. A couple of these things he might request review. Feeder went off, so yeah, they're running out to go eat now. So yeah, a lot of these things, they can do it the way that, they can do it the way they are. When a federal judge comes in and says, no, you can't, it's going to be, I think Trump realizes, rather than ask to go up to the Supreme Court, it's just going to be smarter just to take it in the appeals court. for a lot of these cases, you're seeing the reason why these activist judges are getting this is because people are court shopping. Like, they're taking things to specific appeals courts where it's going to be more favorable to them. Well, all Trump has to do is start a new case in another appeals court on essentially the same issue, get a different ruling, and then tell the Supreme Court, oh, two federal judges, two different appeals courts have ruled differently, so now you have to intervene. And when it's a question where that happens, the Supreme Court absolutely has to come in and answer the question. So with a lot of these things, some of them we will get a Supreme Court answer on. Some of them I don't even think we'll get to that. I think the appeals courts that have these cases are going to be like, yeah, what are you doing? No, just stop it. So, and all these people are suggesting different reforms. I don't think it's going to come to any of that because, you trust the process. The process will play out. It's just delays. Don't worry about delays. Federal courts cause delays. And the thing is, they don't even have to, with a lot of these cases, Trump doesn't even have to win the case. He just has to go up to the appeals court and say, look, we're okay with the questions and having them before the court, but you need to put an injunction on this ruling because it's affecting this and this and this of the presidency. Like the one saying that the Secretary of the Treasury, the federal judge said the Secretary of the Treasury could not audit his own institution and couldn't get access to his own stuff. Like, really, an executive appointee can't look over his own agency? Yeah, that'll never, like, you could probably challenge that in the liberalist of appeals courts, and it's not going to stand. So it's funny, like, a lot of this stuff. Just sit back and enjoy the show. That's all I can tell you. And I just wanted to address that this morning. So thank you, folks, for joining. Make sure you go and subscribe to Georgie. She's really close to 1,000. I think she's like 16 or 14 away. Can't remember offhand. But go give her a like. Also, give to the Uncle Frank. Give to the Uncle Frank Give Send Go. Give to the Tim Walters GoFundMe. We're helping them. Uncle Frank, he was a veteran. His family's looking to do some good stuff with Tim. He is a veteran. He's got stage 3 cancer, and he needs a mobility scooter. If anyone has a mobility scooter that they're willing to sell, reach out to me, and we can start negotiating on some prices on a used mobility scooter. But that's all I have this morning. Thank you, folks, for joining me, and as always, thank you for being worth serving.